All right, so now I'm going to do number 6 on sequence 1. And this is a really great question. I love these kinds of questions. So they give you a sequence, and it starts with 8k plus 4. Then the next term in the sequence is 6k minus 2, and the next is 2k minus 7. And they ask you to figure out what k has to be. Well, let's think first, what does it mean to be a sequence? So for instance, if I started with 0, and then I had 3, and then I had 6, and then I had 9, and then I had 12, and so on and so forth. You could probably tell me quite a bit about that sequence. You would know that the d value was 3. Well, how did you get that d value? Well, you took this one here. This would be like A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, right? So if I take A2 and subtract A1, I'll get D. But if I take A3 and subtract A2, I'll also get D. And if I subtract A4 minus A3, I will also get D. All right, so I'll get 3 no matter which ones I do. So let's use that concept and apply it to this sequence. So let's go ahead and call this guy A1, this guy A2, and this guy A3. Well, we learned earlier that if I take A2 minus A1, it's going to be the same thing as taking A3 minus A2. So I can say A2 minus A1 is going to equal A3 minus A2. That has to be true. So let's go ahead and fill in what we know. 6k minus 2 minus 8k plus 4 has to equal 2k minus 7 minus 6k minus 2. I'm kind of running out of room, but I think you can kind of get that there, right? There you go. All right, now let's just go ahead and simplify this whole mess. So 6k minus 2, I have to distribute my negative sign here. So I'm going to have 8k minus 4 equals 2k minus 7 minus 6k plus 2. Let's combine all of our like terms. 6k minus 8k will give me a minus 2k. Minus 2 minus 4 will give me a minus 6. 2k minus a 6k will give me a minus 4k, k, and minus 5 plus 2 will give me a minus 5. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So if I add 4k to both sides, I guess I'll do it out. Plus 4k. That'll give me here, that'll give me a positive 2k minus 6 equals a negative 5. And then here I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And I'm going to get 2k equals 1, so k equals 1/2. So now I have solved for k. Now, of course, you can check that to make sure that's true. Let's go ahead and plug k back in here. So 8 times 1/2 would be 4. 4 plus 4 would be 8. If I plugged in 1/2, 6 times 1/2 would be 3. 3 minus 2 would be 1. If I plugged in 1/2 here, 2 times 1/2 is 1. 1 minus 7 would be a minus 6. So to get from 8 to 1, I'm going to subtract 7. And from 1 to minus 6, I'm going to subtract 7, so that checks out.